$10,000 a month to run. Because the price of diesel is so high. So we're not in love with the machine. We don't want it there. And I don't know whether that satisfied everyone's questions, concerns. I do beg of you to put up for another 2 weeks. Monday is the bank holiday? Oh, I call it bank holiday. I call it just
They're losing the weekend. But
they're losing the weekend.
But they're preparing the material now, based on the way they have today measured.
You want to say something?
Yeah, I just want to add, besides the fact that you want to cool the rooms and the OR, that many equipment in the hospital generate heat, like radiology, radiation, you want also to keep them at the level where they can function. So that's besides the fact that you have to cool the rooms and the rest of the hospital.
Ron, you want to add because you know the full story on this thing, so you want to just repeat or clarify anything else?
Well, anybody have any questions? Basically, go ahead.
I just want to say that this whole discussion has been very helpful, and I thank you guys for explaining the situation. However, as local residents, it's of concern to us that we know that there is a timeline here. So that you say 2 weeks, it's going to move to the back parking lot, and there's going to be something in place to absorb the noise. That's great. I hope that happens. The other concern I have is the fumes, and I say this because I can see them. I can see huge clouds of smoke. I've done research on these machines, and up to 65 gallons of diesel are run on an hourly basis with these machines. And as a doctor, perhaps you could weigh in on what are the effects of us residents inhaling this on a constant basis. It's also summertime, and I need my windows open, and it's a scary thing to live with on a daily basis. And that's beside the sound, which is of course a nuisance. But I want to underline this with the fact that none of us want this to affect the hospital. We want the hospital to run, and that's it's not like a malicious thing. We just are concerned because this is something that should be temporary, and we need to know what the steps are to make this for a permanent removal. This can't be something that happens every summer.
I appreciate your concern and your comments both. I think it's very well put that you want the hospital to function, but you don't want the local residents to be affected. And what I said before is that we can add more filters to what we have. Yes, you do see fumes, but the composition of the fume changes by the time it goes to 5 filters. That's the issue. And we have spoken to the engineering company again to see what more filters they can add to make it even better. Now, the fact is that when you get the soundproofing on top, you'll also cut down the fumes dramatically. But up till today, up to this morning you decided on the thing?
Yes. But we confirmed
that they did not come up with a solution to this thing. Because they said if you jacket it around, it's going to cause a fire. We didn't want that. So now the only thing is to come up with a canopy which covers the sound from a top to a point of view, and you have a fan at a very low level which pushes the heat out from the bottom. And that is what the plan is.
So the solution is finding $7 million.
I'm sorry?
The solution is finding $7 million.
No.
$7 million.
Well,
so would you define this generator as a permanent generator?
No, I said by September.
So do you have I don't need a conversation, but so you don't know when you're going to find $7 million, but it's not permanent.
Okay, let me answer that. Whatever it takes, we'll find the $7 million. What I'm trying to say, the reason I brought it up, I could not give you a date of September if I could not buy the generators. The generators have been ordered. The generators, I mean, the air conditioning unit for the floor, for the roof have been ordered already. We have taken that risk on. What I'm asking the community to do is to just stick with the hospital and not out-migrate care to places outside Bushwick, outside the hospital. And it will help the hospital. Every patient who moves away from here causes a bigger deficit, and that's what I'm trying to say. No, September, the air conditioners will be in. Even if I have to cut budget somewhere else, we'll find the $7 million. We've already made provision for that. But it took a long time to get to that level, is what I'm trying to say.
So you're saying, for the record, next summer these generators won't be back?
They will not be here after September.
We have a confirmed date from the contract company. We put it into their document that by, I think it's 1st September, they have to have what they call chilled water running, which will eliminate any outside
Will that also fix the old units that run as well?
No, all units are being
The
replaced.
replaced.
They're being
whole
totally
thing's going to
replaced.
be replaced.
Yeah, you
We
will
have,
see.
we have no choice.
Okay.
You will see cranes coming in
Oh, yeah, that's
to
fine.
bring all this stuff up. You're going to see a lot of work on it. It's going to be a lot of work that'll be on the hospital. Should not interfere with, this is internal. But we will look at the exhaust or the fumes, removing it first to get the sound away, to get it out of the street.
Will it be possible to send a report of these fumes?
Sure.
Great. And who do we contact for that?
Contact Ammon first.
Yeah, just, you can contact message.
Your
You can
assistant?
go, you want to speak to Zanitza, what do you want to do, Zanitza? Your call. You can just send it, the email is Zanitza Delan, or, what, you want a number?
I'll get your email after.
I'll give you a number, that's the easiest number, 963-7101.
They can contact, and I can contact them. And they can
96, sorry?
963-7101.
May I just ask a question in connection? I'm not completely clear why the generators will not be in operation after September.
Because by September, one electric unit and an absorption unit will be on the roof, which will produce enough cold water for the generator to be taken out. Today, the generator doesn't provide everything we need. It provides part of it. By putting this unit on, is a 200-ton electric, which will be up there by
200.
Yeah. That will eliminate the need for this generator outside.
Okay, because last fall, 2010,
Yes.
the generators from a different company were parked in the same location from September until November because the AC needs of the hospital, which are genuine, and we all respect that, continue depending on the weather, and the weather is very, very
But
unpredictable.
the only difference between last fall and this fall is that we did not replace any unit last year.
That's correct.
This time we actually have electric 200-ton unit. We have really redesigned the whole air conditioning system. It's going to feed up for one loop. I don't want to get, but basically you will not see these after September
Okay.
because we
I
can.
have a further question
Yeah.
in due respect to the hospital and services, the medical needs of the community, which is really great. It would be great to know that there is some kind of plan to raise the $7 million. And my concern in hearing your expansion of the great programs that you were describing during the first hour tonight is that by expanding your programs, you're also expanding your AC needs and your power needs, I would think. And so it would seem to me that you would need to really, really think about this capital improvement or capital replacement very, very strongly, because in order to, in fact, facilitate these new programs, which are groundbreaking, you do need to make sure that you have the money to put those machines in place within the hospital.
I think I'm just going to answer that. The $7 million I talked about has been sort of sought out. We know where we're going to find the $7 million to do this. And in terms of the expansion needs, the new air conditioning system which is going up, the reason why the old one used to break down wasn't enough because it was done 20, 30 years ago. The new air conditioning system is actually 1.5, was it 1.5 times the capacity would be up there? So the new units in combined, I think there's an 800 and a 200.
2 4s and an 8 and a 2. So total, there's 4 pieces of.
So 1,800-ton capacity is going on the roof. The current stuff, I think, is not even 1,200.
Right.
So we have actually taken a very long-term perspective. And the idea is when you do kind of work this big, you really want to get it over and done with once. And that is the reason why it's such a difficult decision to take. We could have done odd repairs here and there, spend 100,000 breakdown again, then you do 200 breaks. So we just said, listen, we need a long-term strategy. We have to make this work. And in terms of raising the money, we have done it internally. We obviously welcome any other suggestion from the community to make it easier for us. But it's just one of those things which we don't foresee happening from external resources quickly. People don't, I don't want to get carried away, but the investment in community hospitals just hasn't been there. And with the cuts in Medicaid and Medicare, it's going to become more and more difficult. That is why the expansion of the programs, the expansion of the programs are all of a preventive nature. Because the one way to provide better health care with less resources will prevent disease. That's why these studies are so important. That's why childhood obesity in an area like Brooklyn is something we really need to focus on. We need the parents to understand, and Zanitsa will tell you more about it, that when we send a report card along with a grade report card to the parents, they need to look at the health of the child. They need to alter eating habits. I'm sorry, I'm getting carried away. Or diabetes. I mean, it's a very old example, and I've repeated it many times. It's cheaper for me to buy a pair of sneakers for a patient than to put him in the hyperbaric channel and treat a wound. But treating a diabetic wound is very, very expensive. Silver, which goes into the treatment of the wound, is $50 a day. So that is where I need your help. I need to provide better community health care by preventing disease, by making my patients more compliant, making sure patients take their medicine on time. Sorry, go ahead.
With all due respect, I do honor what you just described. I do think that it is a community effort and something that you should be working with your politicians, that we should be working with our politicians, not on raising that money, because I think it does go hand in hand with the expansion of your programs, that you must have the basic capital equipment to house and implement these programs. Otherwise, everybody will be limping along.
I totally agree with you. I don't know how many people in the room, but let's say there's 60 people. Each one has a family, each one has relatives, friends. This group here can form a very strong support voice with the politicians. So like people complain about their conditions because you didn't know the real reason, and I hope we answer some of your concerns. The same thing happens when all of you get together and say, Wyckoff needs this thing or that thing. You have to help us get a budget item. We need to get them more grants. And, who is the most important person? Is the people who live in this neighborhood.